21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
So 90% of business buyers never get a deal done, but that doesn't have to be you. There are tried and true ways to get deals executed that are different than a lot of people are spewing on social media and the web. So tune in more so you can understand how to get that done so you can be $1 million business owner too. I'm Elliot Holland. I'm a Harvard Business School alum. I've spent 15 years in small business acquisition. I've been on all sides of it, rich business buyer, poor business buyer, self-funded business buyer advisor, and now I have a Masterclass. So I've been in this longer than almost anyone. I'm known for telling the truth, and I speak in simple terms so nobody will get lost on the way, and that's why you should listen to me. Most of my clients are working sort of corporate jobs. They've been there 10 to 20 years, and now they decide they want to buy a business. And it sounds great, and everybody says it's easy. 3 months in, they're bleeding. What do I mean by bleeding? They've called 10 brokers and got no responses. They submitted offers on 3 deals and got outbid all 3 times. They've been ignored. They've been told they're not qualified. They've been told they need to get pre-qualifications. They've had to go from on their corporate job saying yes to everything, so sometimes giving their best work to their boss. Now they have to be the person that's going to show up with $1 million Brinks truck, and they can't take crap from anybody, from a broker, seller, advisor, lawyer, all of that. Probably the biggest negotiation they've ever been in has been over $20,000 or $30,000. Now they're in a negotiation about $3 million, $5 million, $7 million. They don't know how to handle those situations. And so the reason most people fail is because they're going from a very structured, protected corporate environment. They have the ambition and the brilliance to desire to go buy $1 million business, but really in this new job, they don't know squat. They don't have 2 or 3 years to learn. And so how do you get something done in a year that takes people 30 years to learn when you're already 20 years into your career, making $100,000, $200,000, $400,000 a year? Typically my clients have families, kids. There's just too many constraints on the system for people to do it themselves. The other issue that makes it difficult is a lot of people are making, let's call it $250,000 US a year. They've been in their career 10 or 20 years, and now they want to go be $1 million business owner and operator, but there's a huge gap in between. And so where people get stuck is sort of, there's enough pain to desire to do something outside of your job, but not enough pain to, after 3-6 months of not being successful, to continue to stay on top of this very lucrative job that most of my friends would die to have, that pays all my bills, takes care of my family. I'm still motivated to do the extra 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week to get this other amazing thing done. The first amazing thing that you've done, most people have not accomplished themselves. So you're really on an island yourself in this $250,000 a year trap. The other reality is you start looking up and you're 4, 5, 6 rows below the CEO, and you've seen how long the people take to get to that CEO spot, and you don't think you have a real chance. And so now the desire you had when you started your career to be the big person, the head honcho, now becomes a more fleeting, less than likely outcome. And so you want to get out of it, but oh, that money sure is fun to spend. Let's talk about the skills that are most difficult to get on your own. So you don't go from negotiating $20,000 differences on houses, $30,000 differences on salaries, to $3 million differences on purchase price overnight or by reading a book. You actually don't know valuation or financial modeling for small businesses at all. And I don't care if you're the greatest Wall Street billion-dollar business modeler or somebody that works at a tow truck company. You're not any good at this. And this is mission critical to this new job you'll be doing, and you're not going to get good at it where you'll be willing to bet $2-3 million on it in 6 to 12 months. So how do you actually accomplish that? And then the other issue that you have to really get good at is calling baloney, bull squat, Sasquatch. Because unlike in your corporate environment where everybody tells the truth because lying can get you fired, here everybody lies and telling the truth can get you fired. So how do you figure that out? And how can you figure out a person telling you things, smiling, especially a seller who probably made their 30-year career selling other people? How are you going to tell if they're selling you a pound of lead versus a great opportunity? And so those are the 3 or 4 things you're going to need to do incredibly well to put yourself in a position where a $3 million investment can turn to 6 or 12. But what if you mess up on one of those things and instead of putting up 3 and getting 6, you put up 3 and get 0 or negative 3 million? And are you willing to bet that on doing it yourself or trying to rush it? So the first 90 days are all about 2 things: getting deal flow and getting your mind ready to execute. But let me tell you what the real benefit of my program is relative to others. So you're not going to learn this in a group or a cohort with some online a group-based whatever. You're going to need one-on-one time. And I'm the only program out there with one-on-one time with the guy, with the expert. So we meet for an hour every week. So before we even talk about what we learn, let me tell you how you won't learn it somewhere else, because the topics aren't really it. It's actually the level of comfort, the level of specificity, the nuance that you actually have to learn these things with, the format that's required to learn them in that way. And let me just further break it down. So if I have 7 or 8 nuanced questions about $1 million deal, but to get to the end, I might have to look at $50 million deals. So now I have 200, 300 questions over the course of 6 months, and I'm in a group course. So I get an hour of the expert's time amongst 30 other people. So I get a question every 4th or 5th week. So out of my 200 questions, I get 3 answered. But you paid some money for that. That's what a lot of these people are offering. Or you learned it in a video. Okay. So learning how to negotiate a $3 million deal in a video. Let me tell you how that's going to go. You ever seen a plane crashing? That's what it's going to look like. And so the first thing is you need one-on-one time, because each week you're going to have 4 to 12 nuanced questions that are going to be backed up with spreadsheets, situations, brokers, lawyers, sellers, cities, and all that stuff is going to have to intermix with your own risk appetite, how much money you can afford, and the answers at the nexus of all those things. How else are you learning that without one-on-one time? So yeah, we go through deal sourcing, finding more deals than the average person. We go through quickly getting to an idea about an offer. We go through negotiating an offer letter, which is called a letter of intent. And there's 10 modules that we go through, but I'd be lying to tell you that the modules are where you get the value. It's the method by which you learn and the one-on-one time that's really the only way to learn this. That's truly the differentiation. One of my Masterclass students was working a very lucrative job at one of the world's largest companies, had been searching for a business to buy for a year and got nowhere. They joined my program right around the time when people were telling folks they needed to come back in the office from remote work. And so instead of having a 0-minute commute from the bedroom to the office in the house, now they have a one-way, 1-hour commute each day. So they ended up leaving their job because after spending a year looking for a business to buy and not being successful, they sort of knew they had about 6 months left to get something done or they'd have to quit. So they left their job. We spent 2 or 3 months in an intense deal sourcing endeavor, really recognizing that 6 months was the time that we had on the clock. Found an amazing deal in the United States in the Northwest sort of corridor, and went through the due diligence process of really making sure that that business was what the seller said it was, going through quality of earnings, going through fundraising, which was a big pain in the butt, but I coached them through that. And then going through the legal document process to make sure that all of the risks that were identified could be mitigated in legal docs. So in between the time when my student started in November of 2024 to April of 2025, when they closed, less than 6 months, they had gone from a job that they probably never see $1 million upside to $1 million business they own. And now when they go do a piece of work for this home service company, they get the check at the end of the day. And so this person will likely do other deals, but they tried on their own for 12 months to get their first deal done, failed. And this isn't like your average everyday high school graduate. This is someone who could command a job at a top 10 world company. So you can understand how great this person was, but they failed at this job. And then 6 months into my program, they succeeded. And there's 4 or 5 others that are referenced on my YouTube channel about how they did the same thing. Ninety percent of my masterclass and mastermind members are married with 1 or more children. My peers who have 2 or 3 kids that are 10 to 15, 20 years old, I know how much they run around between their job, their kids, their partner, their church. And by the time you have all that going, the likelihood you have another 20 hours to go do this. Come on, man. Any one of those in any given week can kill it. In the 4 weeks in a month, you're going to get killed 3 out of 4. You're just not going to have the time to do it. It's not responsible anymore. So why did I bring that up? For most of my masterclass and mastermind members, one of the huge benefits of this is working a lot harder than the average person for a year or 2 to get ownership of a business where now they can hire people to help out, to buy their time back, to be able to spend more time with their partner and their kids. And so by the time they get to a place where life and family and work are taking most of their time, they're able to buy that time back by hiring a general manager, by hiring a marketing manager, by hiring other people. And not only do they get their time to spend with who they love the most, but they also get the ability so that their children can not only have the regular job choices that everybody has, their children can actually come in and either take a job or buy into the family business. And so they have new options that their parents never had, that most people never had. And I've seen second generation business ownership where the grandfather gets to spend a whole lot of time with his grandkids because the mother and the father aren't encumbered by somebody else's 60-hour-a-week ploys at a job, when you witness that second generation into a business. And so there's a bigger so what for most of my masterclass members in that the generational wealth transfer is one part of it, but having the time to spend with your grandkids and your kids unencumbered is probably more so what people are going for. So I told you about a lot of great, nice things that people have accomplished, but let's keep it real. I'm telling you things that 9 out of 10 people don't get done. And not 9 out of 10 everyday people. I'm talking about 9 to 10 of the world's greatest, smartest, most capable, most well-capitalized, most liked, that have the best jobs. When they set out to do this, 9 out of 10 of them don't get it done. This is not easy, not simple. This is not a do-it-yourself weekend project. This is not putting a fence up in the backyard. This is not painting one side of your room. This is a life's work for a person of means that if you have the ability to get expert help on a one-on-one basis, you'd be a fool not to. And hey, I can't help everybody, but I sure wouldn't want you walking into something where 90% of the people fail and not knowing it. So I just had to lay it plain. If you want to find out more, and I bet you do, go to thebusinessbuyingmasterclass.com or go to my YouTube channel at Guardian Due Diligence, or just Elliot Holland into YouTube and you'll find me. And I'm excited to hear from you there.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.